what happened with the Incredible Hulk in Avengers Endgame. I don't know about you, but this was one of the character arcs that I was left feeling disappointed with by the conclusion of the film. Again, I don't want to take anything away from what I think was a good storyline that was incredibly well executed over the course of more than 10 years on the part of Marvel Studios and all of the directors and talent involved. But I do want to make an observation here, and that is what they had done with the character of the Incredible Hulk in this storyline that they were creating, Marvel was creating. They had made some good moves. I felt in the story of a very popular superhero, one that I loved watching on television back in the day as a little kid growing up. But what you see happening in Avengers Endgame is a sort of a melding of Dr. Bruce Banner and the Incredible Hulk. It's happened in some of the comic book storylines, and they just refer to this as Professor Hulk. It's basically the mind and personality of Bruce Banner with the body of the Hulk, but sort of toned down. This is not the strongest version of the Hulk. So while I appreciate, the homage to that persona of that version of the Incredible Hulk that they brought out in this film, and I feel like that, in many ways they used that well. It was entertaining to watch, but what it ultimately does is, because it was left that way, it leaves several things unresolved. First of all, I just want to say it was sort of jarring to see it happen because there was no explanation, no further exploration of what was happening with his character. If you remember in the previous film, right at the beginning of the film, the Incredible Hulk launches out into this vicious attack on Thanos, and it was very exciting to watch because suddenly you thought, okay, well maybe this is gonna, this is gonna happen pretty quickly with him, and then Thanos just, demolishes the Hulk, knocks him out cold, and then for the rest of the film, you don't see the Hulk appear. In fact, he refuses to come out, even at very dangerous moments when Bruce Banner's like, I need the Hulk to happen now, and he's not coming. So for the rest of that entire film, he was not there. And then the next time you see the Hulk, it's the Professor Hulk version, and there's no discussion, no anything about, okay, so what happened, what did happen, and what happened in between then and now to arrive here. None of that happened in the film. It was sort of just kind of thrown at you, and you had to roll with it, which whatever. I just, as a Hulk fan, I was hoping there was some sort of explanation forthcoming, which there wasn't, and then they never really brought back the Hulk that we know and love, right? That, because I think, look, just as a in the genre of storytelling or writing, there's something more interesting, in my opinion, about that division, the two characters of Dr. Banner and the Incredible Hulk, and the tension between them. I think that creates an interesting storyline in and of itself. But once you have Professor Hulk, well, that's gone. And so that's where we were left with that character. This is what I had wished they had done. If they were going to bring out Professor Hulk, okay, we can sort of deal with that, and the sort of really awkward things that he was doing because he was trying to be cool, but we all know that Bruce Banner is not cool, and doesn't know what to do with his newfound popularity. So it was entertaining for those purposes. But what I wish they had done, and I think this would have been a key moment to reboot and bring back, to complete the arc of the Incredible Hulk would have been, because there's this moment where the Avengers have retrieved all of the Infinity Stones. They've created a new gauntlet for it to be used so they can unsnap and undo what Thanos had done in the previous film. Okay? So the Avenger who says, well, I'm the one who's got the strength and endurance to do this. The radiation they emit is mostly gamma. It's like I was made to do this, right? Is what he says. So he puts on the gauntlet, and of course, it takes a great toll on him to do this. Leaves him injured. Again, I don't know. I mean, I get it in one way that they're trying to make it so that everybody who tries to wield the power of the Infinity Stones is irrevocably damaged. However, what he had just said was, I was made for this, right? Because of his physiology and what he's undergone with the gamma radiation. So I feel like that would have been a doorway for them to have him eventually recover and heal from this. But what I wish they had done with the character was this: written it in such a way that the only way that he could wield the power of the Infinity Stones is to bring back the true nature of the Hulk, the raw, savage power of the Hulk. Because if they had written it so that Professor Hulk was just not quite at that level, that he needed to undo psychologically whatever he had done to link these two together, that he would have to decouple that in order to truly wield the new gauntlet and unsnap. I think that could have been the moment where we could have seen the real Hulk return, right? Or if in the process of putting on the gauntlet, wielding the power of the Infinity Stones, just the sheer trauma of wielding that kind of power and absorbing, as was stated in the movie, all of that radiation, that just by virtue of wielding it, whatever he had done to produce Professor Hulk is now undone, just by virtue of using the Infinity Stones. And maybe even bring out a stronger version of the Hulk than we had ever seen before. I think that could have been a really interesting storyline for the Incredible Hulk. Would have been for him to, by using that gauntlet, somehow creates this the most powerful version of the Hulk that we'd ever seen, and then in the final battle get to see a rematch between this new, most powerful Hulk and Thanos. I think that could have been a really cool moment for his character. We didn't get that. We got Professor Hulk running around with his arm in a sling. I was sort of disappointed by that character arc. Maybe you have some different ideas or opinions, explanations of what we were seeing. I'd love to hear your comments below. Thanks for watching.